Breaking news. Reports are coming out that Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse will soon be added to the White House Crypto Advisory Council. And this means one thing. More people are going to get wrecked during this next crypto bull run. People are going to conflate tokens like Ripple, which are missing its first 32,000 blocks, with Bitcoin. They're going to also believe that Bitcoin is just a successful experiment.
XRP and the performance of XRP compares with Bitcoin. Bitcoin today, as was said earlier, Bitcoin in many ways has been a successful experiment.
They'll believe that Ray Gunn was a real dancer. They'll also believe that strategic asset reserves should be digital asset reserves with many tokens, and that maximalism is the enemy of progress. This doesn't really matter for Bitcoin in the long term, but you need to understand the plans behind VC grifters like David Sachs and the PayPal Mafia infiltrating Washington, D.C. Like every crypto grifter, the plan is to promote Bitcoin, to talk about Bitcoin openly, and then rug pull people with crypto projects that they've earned tokens with behind the scenes. Today, I'm going to show you the differences between XRP, Solana, and Bitcoin, and what you need to do to not lose your hard-earned money in 2025 with crypto scams. There's Bitcoin, and then there's everything else. This is Dante Coke with Bitcoin Simply. Let's go.
So one of the things that the president instructed us to do was to evaluate the idea for a Bitcoin reserve, and so that is one of the things. That's one of the first things we're going to look at as part of the internal working group in the administration. So as soon as we get all that set up, we're still waiting for some cabinet secretaries who are on the working group to get confirmed. So we're still in the very early stages of this. But that's one of the first things we're gonna look at is the feasibility of a Bitcoin reserve. I think the concept of the sovereign wealth fund is a little separate, and you have to talk to Secretary Lednick, or soon to be Secretary Lednick, about that.
Okay, when people see clips like this, they only see the Bitcoin part and think it's bullish, but they don't understand what's actually going on.
The item that President Trump asked our working group on digital assets to study is whether it's feasible to create either a Bitcoin reserve or some sort of digital asset stockpile. And so we're going to be looking at that question.
David Sachs is doing what every grifter does. He's leading with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the only true innovation in the space. It's the only one running without centralized authorities controlling it. You're going to hear these terms like crypto and digital assets always get added to Bitcoin, which allows them to broaden the scope of potential tokens and projects, of which you are the exit liquidity. Exit liquidity for David Sachs rests on Solana. When you look at Trump Coin and Melania Coin, what were they launched on? Solana. When you see this clip on the All In podcast, do you see someone who's actually a Bitcoiner or someone who's just looking for exit liquidity?
I think your AUM is positively correlated with the bags under your eyes.
If you mean it's getting bigger, you're correct.
I mean,
yes, they're heavy.
Good Lord.
They're heavy, dragging you down.
That's where you're hiding all that Solana, in your fucking, under your eyes. Jesus.
You better clear that Solana position. What's your lockup, 24 months?
Fuck no, he's trying to sell it to me on text message.
Yeah, of course he is.
We're negotiating discounts.
I just had the founder on the
you're
pod.
fucking the whole thing up.
Bro, you don't think
I'm hodling.
You think I buy hundreds of millions of dollars of anything without a discount? Everything is a discount.
Everything's discounted. You want to clear that position in an LLC?
Are you saying I got $1 billion of Solana?
No, bro, I'm saying I have one, but I brought it at a discount.
But you're holding, correct?
Ish.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, me too.
Well, I mean, if something at what point is the appreciation in an asset that you've invested in early something you need to, at least clear a position of and lock in a win? I mean, what's enough? 100x, 500x? You got to, at some point, bank a win, right?
Well, I think you have to put things in a bucket of like, is it an investment or is it something that represents an idea that you love so much? If it's the latter, you should never sell. If it's the former, yeah, you got to manage risk. And
or rather, is it a trade or is it something you want to own?
By the way, let me just clean this up because Solana was not a direct investment for us. What we did is we invested in a crypto venture firm called Multicoin Capital. This is back in 2017. We realized like crypto was becoming like a full-time job for us. It was a total rabbit hole. And we were like, we don't have time to figure out this like 24/7 trading stuff. But we met Kyle and Tushar, who were these two young guys. We met them through Vinny Lingham, actually. And they were creating Multicoin Capital. And we actually invested, we gave them $1 million at a 20 cap to help set up their firm. And then we invested in they had both a venture fund and a hedge fund, and they were like the first money into Solana. So that fund, I mean, it's like a 100x fund. It's just like bonkers.
Crazy.
And so as a result of that, we are indirect beneficiaries of this huge increase in Solana. It will end up being about, $1 billion of, I think, Solana for us in terms of returns. But it's the multi-coin guys determine the trading decisions on that.
I didn't believe this at first, but as more and more time goes on, I'm convinced that the failures of the PayPal vision that they initially had in the early 2000s is now lost. And now their plans are to infiltrate Washington, D.C. so they can rebuild on that old vision with new blockchain technology. Because I'm seeing way too many things. When you see Chase Hero, the leader of the Trump-backed WorldFi token, talking about they're creating a strategic reserve, what asset don't you see on this list? Bitcoin. When you see Brad Garlinghouse potentially getting added to the White House Crypto Advisory Council, do you think about him sharing tables at world leader events with Christine Lagarde? Or do you think about the fact that 100 billion XRP tokens were created by Ripple Labs out of thin air in 2012? Let me just stop being so harsh for a second. I can absolutely understand why people are going to get wrecked and want to gamble on crypto projects. It's because they know and understand that their money is being debased and they have to gamble in order to make ends meet. Cash has underperformed the S&P 500 by over 2,100% over the last 30 years. Cash is trash. I mean, our money system is so broken that the United States government loses $179 million a year on pennies. It costs us 3 cents to make a penny worth 1 cent. In total, our economy needs to create $5.8 in debt just to create $1 of GDP growth. It's so bad that the Government Accountability Office said that our path is unsustainable in a scathing memo to the federal government, which is sadly why millions of people bet their life savings on the Hawk Tuah coins. The thanks that they will get is that the proceeds from any podcast that she has when she says that she's sorry for what happened are going to get donated to animals that were hurt as part of the California fires.
Basically, how this idea got brought to me, it was supposed to be like what they call it, a long-term coin. And the guy that ran the account, he was like, oh, we're going to change like the way everybody thinks of crypto. Crypto is going to be a good place. And I feel really bad for all the people that got affected by it. And it just didn't go the way I planned. And all the money out of this episode is getting donated to all the animals that have been affected by the fires up here.
In one of the saddest clips of 2025, one of my childhood heroes, Ray Lewis, said that he's launching a Fitcoin.
Everybody, it's your man Ray Lewis. Listen, I did a lot of great things in the world of football, but I think I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. I am now launching the official Ray Lewis coin. Listen, join this movement. Like, let's change what our world has been introduced to, and let's get back to loving each other, right? The ticker, kind of my thoughts is fit, right? It's like, how do you take care of yourself? If you can take care of yourself, mind, body, and spirit, then we all got a chance. You already know a big portion is going to charity, bottom line, right? Everything we can do for people. And one of the reasons why I jumped in this business, because I need help in changing 1 billion lives. How do we do that? Like, how do we do that? Like, there are tons of ways for you to get involved with me. Like, tons of ways, like to engage directly with me, like join exclusive events. And man, we just gonna do some really good things, celebrate with some really good people, and bless a lot of people. Listen, join the journey. Like, let's do amazing things. Let's make a real difference. Jump in now. Join this movement. Fit. We're about to go live.
It's honestly exhausting to see the altcoin cycles play out every single time that Bitcoin is about to rip. And there's many real people that will get hurt, that will put real money in their life savings into these token projects, which they're just the exit liquidity for. And this is why when we create our show, we look for sponsors that are aligned with the mission and vision of doing what's right for the people that they serve. And that's why when we were looking at digital lenders and looking at Bitcoin-backed loans, we chose Ledn, the leader in this space, the first digital lender to do a proof of reserves. They've lent out over $6.5 billion worth of loans to tens of thousands of people since 2018 and haven't lost a single sat or dollar of customer money. They allow you to unlock liquidity in your Bitcoin without selling your Bitcoin. Their loans rely on over-collateralized Bitcoin. The process for a loan takes less than 2 minutes, and you can have liquidity in your bank account in less than 24 hours. Go to ledn.io/borrowing in order to fill out an application and know that you're working with a trusted Bitcoin-backed lender. That's ledn.io/borrowing. And I want to say, because for all of the people in the comments that don't think that I understand what Bitcoin-backed lending is, only do this if you are sure what you know that you're doing with your Bitcoin. Don't borrow against your Bitcoin unless you know exactly what you're doing. Our second sponsor, to help you protect your generational wealth the right way, is the Bitcoin Way. Members of their team will ensure that you hold your Bitcoin, actual Bitcoin, not just IOUs from exchanges, by taking self-custody the right way. You remove your private keys from third-party exchanges and take full responsibility for your Bitcoin, privately, securely, and confidently. Take the next step and schedule a free 30-minute consultation with their team so that you can take self-custody of your Bitcoin and protect your generational wealth. Go to thebitcoinway.com/simplybitcoin to schedule a free 30-minute consultation with their team. I hope that Donald Trump is listening to the right advisors in Mar-a-Lago, like Michael Saylor versus Brad Garlinghouse, because on the surface, it's hard to actually distinguish what are the differences between novel and real innovations like Bitcoin and everything else out there. Here's a great conversation between two of the greatest thinkers of our time, and Safedine and Jordan Peterson, about the novel invention of Bitcoin and the general Byzantine problem which was solved, and the benefit of having real energy in Bitcoin miners to power and secure the network.
How in the world did Satoshi figure this out? How did he? I don't understand how he could conceptualize this. It just doesn't make sense to me.
It's an incredible work of genius when you think about just the amount of expertise that he had to have in different fields of knowledge to bring this monster together is absolutely astounding.
Yeah, well, just the conceptualization to begin with, let alone the implementation, the engineering implementation.
To be fair, I mean, it wasn't like he invented this problem. It's a problem that had been around for many decades. People had been trying to build a digital form of money for decades. You know, since the 1970s and 80s and 90s, there have been attempts to do something like this. And the different attempts to produce something like this always came up against a technical problem called the Byzantine generals problem. And then Satoshi figured out a solution to it through the proof of work system, which is absolutely astounding.
So tell me about that. That sounds, if we can do that without deviating too much. So what is that problem and how did he solve it?
Well, the problem is essentially about how to get all the different nodes on the network to agree on the same version of what's going to happen together. You know, how do they all agree without having a central command authority? That's really the issue.
And why was that the Byzantine generals' problem?
You know, ashamed to say it, but I'm not very much up on my history. I'm not sure where the history of the term comes from.
Okay. Well, I won't torture you with that then. But he solved the problem of consensus verification without a central authority.
Exactly.
So what's the net effect of that on the price of electricity worldwide? Is that deflationary with regards to electricity cost?
I think so. I think this is a point that I make in the fiat stand, which is that, you know, we've had fiat subsidize all these dysfunctional forms of energy over the last 50 years that have led to the grid becoming unreliable. And we have Bitcoin, like the vigilante savior that it is, coming in and providing a global subsidy for anybody who can make electricity at a cheap rate to monetize that. And I think,
well, not only at a global subsidy, but so interesting, because not only you could go to where the energy is cheap with virtual certainty that you're going to make more and more money as the value of the Bitcoin increases by investing there, assuming that the value of Bitcoin is going to continually increase, which is a logical presupposition if it's as stable as is claimed, and it's finite in the way that you're describing. And
increasingly widely accepted by vast numbers of people. So it's also an investment that's likely to increase in value over time rather than decrease. So it takes some of the uncertainty out of investing in cheap electricity generating processes that are geographically isolated. I just can't believe that's true. It's amazing that I think I must be misunderstanding, because it seems like you can move the value of the electricity magically without any of the problems of transportation.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
The implementation of Bitcoin is absolutely magical for anyone who's willing to be curious and truly try to understand it. Crypto is just a cheap and worthless imitation. My friend Ledn asked ChatGPT to try to explain why using blockchain to track real-world assets is pointless. Here's what ChatGPT had to say. Number 1, the Oracle problem. Blockchain can't ensure that real-world assets match the data entered on chain. Number 2, blockchain records don't grant real ownership. Centralized authorities control the assets, except for Bitcoin. Number 3, blockchain can't prevent fraud, theft, and destruction of real-world assets. We've seen that with many of the crypto exchanges, the FTX on basketball arenas, and all of the people whose money was torched in the crypto collapses of 2021. Blockchain transactions can't force physical actions, and traditional databases are not only faster, cheaper, but more effective in providing the same amount of benefits as blockchain technology. Don't be fooled when you hear about these tokens in projects like Ripple and other things. The true innovation is being built onto Bitcoin, like Tether being built on the Lightning Network, which is going to allow interoperable global payments for people on the Bitcoin blockchain. Something that's been promised by so many other crypto projects, but has been available all along through Bitcoin and through Lightning. There's no crypto project that can solve the problems that we face with money and with payments the same way that you can with Bitcoin. Not WorldFi Coin, not Liberty Coin, not Trump Coin, Melania Coin, or Ripple. There's Bitcoin and there's everything else. And if we fix the money, we can fix the world.
Americans today are being forced to make these gut-wrenching decisions because our money is broken. For the beleaguered American middle class, Bitcoin is the off-ramp from the inflation highway of doom. If the world were on a Bitcoin standard and our money held its value, we would all have the ability to live more abundant lives. Bitcoiners have it right. Fix the money, fix the world.
If you believe that fixing the money is one of the biggest problems facing our society today, then join me and hundreds of people from all across the world at the longest running US-based Bitcoin conference. And that's the BitBlockBoom conference, happening in Dallas, Texas from April 3rd through April 6th. Join me and some of your favorite speakers in Bitcoin who will be presenting on stage, like Parker Lewis, Marty Bent, Guy Swan, Bob Burnett, and get access to exclusive workshops where you can learn how to mine Bitcoin, take self-custody of your Bitcoin, and buy your first Bitcoin and remove it from exchanges. Join some of your favorite Bitcoiners at awesome and exclusive parties like the Saturday Casino Night, and for fun other events wrapping around the event, like Range Day. Get $100 off your all-inclusive ticket by going to bitblockboom.com and entering the promo code BBB25. That's bitblockboom.com and using the promo code BBB25. It seems like I'm a broken record player repeating these same tropes over and over again every cycle, and that's because they've all turned out to be true. Don't lose your hard-earned money by betting in crypto scams. Trust the only decentralized, open, and permissionless protocol, and that's Bitcoin. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe to the channel or share them with a friend or a loved one. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Happy stacking.